Well, the color didn't just fade from this cliff face at La Victoria crater. An image was taken down and the whole image was put back up, and all the color had been washed out of it. Nonetheless, shapes and definitions still exist. Look in the background, almost looks like a lake or an ocean. Nice blue color out there. But that was the real color. This is not the real color, but you see a cave opening. Down below, you can almost see kind of like a carved face. Really white hanging something or other. Could be icicles, but what is that, projecting downward? Off to the left, there's some bizarre carvings on the wall. And closer to this entity that I am pointing at, there's also artificial structures all about. And when I showed a humanoid figure on Mars, I always showed that in the environment next to the humanoid, there were artificial structures or even a second humanoid. This one, you look down and looks to be holding a platter. You can almost see the left hand gripping the platter at the 2 o'clock position. And this comes from the Opportunity rover. That official destination was a crater that was barely a mile wide. When it got to this crater, it spent over a year and a half on a mile wide crater. So what was going on there that NASA just kept monitoring, I wonder? Now, none of this would make any sense to me, having humanoid civilization on Mars, unless you could find other things. Not just this one entity, this one anomaly. There would have to be several. And that's what we had done when we first started this channel, using these photographs, and some of them had already been altered. The original source link had been taken down. We thought it never come back up again. And then when it came back up again, there were pixelizations, there was a loss of integrity, and there was also many other things wrong with the new source link, but still we were able to find suspicious stuff over and over and over again at La Victoria crater. So we will be bringing some of those back to the forefront now that we got our computer hard drive back. And I want you to understand that there was a time where NASA said there was no water on Mars. And now NASA says there is water on Mars. And if there's surface water on Mars, there has to be subterranean water on Mars. So that was basically one of the first humanoids that we had discovered. And it was quite eye-opening. And once we started discovering more and more humanoids, my goodness, how life changed. And we talked about structures and sculptures, and and it's weird how some of it's themed. There's a theme, like a Mayan theme to some of the structures. There's an extraterrestrial theme. In the middle of your frame again in the opening of a cave, you see that white streak. But that white streak, if you look closely, looks like it's got a head and a long curved beak. It has a tapered end that goes down to the bottom of the screen, resembling a thunderbird from the Mayan carvings found in Central America and South America, I believe. But a long curved beak to the Mayan thunderbird. And so, what an anomaly, a crazy anomaly. Looks just like a thunderbird, even it's got a very straight legged looking leg to it, which is a bizarre anomaly to occur under something that looks like a giant bird. Now, you know, when you find them and you find them more and more in clumps and clusters and collections, you begin to rule out that these are accidental. These are coincidental. Again, I ask you, why did they spend over a year and a half at La Victoria Crater, and why was it an official destination? They're going to try to make it to La Victoria Crater. Well, here's a whole group of rock formations that are just astounding. Up at the upper left, there's one that kind of crosses over a gap. Kind of looks like something jumping over that gap. And below it, there's something that looks more deer-like. Below that, something more primate-like. And below that, something more dog-like. And even behind the dog-like creature, the sculpture, there's something that looks more like a camel. So, I mean, and when you outline them and define them, it's hard to believe that all of this is just one giant accident. One just coincidence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different animal shapes. Yeah, and when they overlap, it kind of disguises some of the things you're looking at. But when they overlap, it also tells you that they're separate entities. They're separate formations. They're not all part of one continual ridge of rock. So these animal-like structures, they're all together. Are there any more animal-like structures in La Victoria Crater? There are dozens of them. And so, I mean, what are the odds you can find one or two, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? How many do I have to show you before you start to get the idea there may be more going on planet Mars? At the upper part of your screen, I mean, there's so many anomalies in here, but at the upper part of the screen, there is something that looks like a bear face, right at the very top middle. And then below the bear face, there's almost like a baby bear looking 90 degrees the other way. I mean, I can't get any closer. There's 2 eyes, there's a nose with 2 nostrils. I can't believe it. And the baby bear is very, very obvious. Kind of reminds me of a teddy bear. So, I mean, to find the bear head is one thing, but to find the bear head coupled with a baby bear below, that's a little kind of weird. All of this being found in one single mile-wide crater on planet Mars. And so, but we see other carvings, other almost petroglyphs, other things that again look kind of alienish, extraterrestrial-ish. And finally, this one may be hard to see. The arrow's pointing at another long-necked entity similar to the first one I showed you. This one has a little more color to it. There's other things in the image that are artificial or natural looking, but this looks like a kid or a young long neck extraterrestrial looking upwards, peeking over a ledge. And his left arm is very discernible, and his right hand actually looks to be holding a flashlight or something. He's got a very pointed chin, very obvious right here, and you can almost see the two eyes, the mouth, and the nose, and even the ear. But definitely that long neck is very, very discernible. The arms are, they're not a whole lot there, but there is a discernible difference in the contouring of his torso, where his arms come out of the torso. The face is very light colored, and the hair is so dark it kind of blends in with the background. But we try to highlight the arms. They're more orange than the torso. And again, that very long neck. It's very long. The pointed chin, the square looking forehead due to the shadows. But again, you can almost see the eyes. You know? I mean, so would there be any anomalies there? Well, there's something that looks like a goblet right there, a two-handled goblet. Blow that up and look at it. Very, very interesting artificial structure in the same frame as the extraterrestrial. There are other things in this frame, too, that kind of give you pause to wonder, why are these so many anomalies showing up in one crater wall? A single wall, a single area of La Victoria crater. All of these anomalies, all of them. Not just dozens, but hundreds of anomalies. Artificial and living. But, you know, so if NASA told you there wasn't water, then there was water. If they say there's no atmosphere, but then have to admit there is an atmosphere. If they say the radiation's really high, but yet we're so far from the sun, it may be not that high, then you have to wonder why so many contradictions from somebody who, you know, is a scientist. So, until next time, thanks for watching.